Welcome to Module 2 of your biology class. So, this week we're going to talk about cells, and this is where I want you to start thinking about how things in our bodies work. So, our bodies are made up of individual cells, and each of these cells is a living, breathing unit that needs nutrition, that has a function, and and we're going to talk later on how this nutrition gets to these cells, but we're going to want to look at these cells this time around. And what I want you to look at is, when you're going to look in the book, they'll all there's this generic cell that's listed in the book, and real cells don't look like that. And so your assignments, there's going to be a couple of assignments. First of all, you're going to read the book, obviously. Um, And you've got a PowerPoint again that you can look at. Here's a link to the book. Then here is this video. I want you to watch this video because it goes a long way to try to explain that nothing inside of you happens by accident. There's no hand wavy, magical thing happening. Everything has a molecular basis. Even like a little vesicle that gets dragged along a microtubule, it's all got a molecular basis how these things happen. So this nutrition that gets into like when you eat something, when you're trying to build muscle, all of those molecules have to get there somehow, right? They have to get to your muscles. Um, and so I want you to think about when you're hearing that, some nutritional supplement, it'll go straight to your muscle. I want you to start thinking about whether this makes sense, what they're telling you, because some of these things don't really make sense. There's going to be a quiz, and this discussion board activity here is one of those where I want you to think. Cells do certain things to be better. They specialize. So they're not generic. They specialize into something to do their job better. And the reason why they do that is, similar to what we do as people when we build societies. We have certain people who are better at some things. They do certain things, right? Like, basketball players tend to be tall. And so the same thing here. Cells that, that the ones that are better at specific jobs, they do those specific jobs. And I want you to look at a couple of different cells and kind of think about, what is it about that cell that makes it specialized for that job? Because it doesn't look like the generic cell anymore. So describe the cell, illustrate it. Don't just give me a picture. I would prefer something hand drawn, or if you can't draw by hand, then try to build something so that you can illustrate your point. Um, and one of the concepts I want you to think about is this concept of form following function. Um, there are certain structural things that you find over and over and over again when you're looking at cells or when you're looking at structures inside of the body, where a form makes a function work better. For example, um, more macroscopically, you find that animals that live in the desert, they tend to have very tiny little ears, because there's too much heat being lost through the ears. Whereas if you look at a fox, for example, that lives in the did I say it the other way around? Animals that live in the Arctic have very tiny ears. Animals that live in the desert have big ears because they want to, they want to lose the heat. Um, and so you see things like that even on the very basic molecular level of a cell. And that's the kind of thing I want you to think about. Um, the next one is there are two scenarios where I want you to read through them and try to figure out what is going on here. What happened? And the questions again, they're related to the things that you've learned in the chapter. So think about what that has to do with the chapter and think about what the issues are. And that's it for this week.